Hey friends, it's Peachy and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my most favorite video game of all time, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Originally released in October of 2004 for the Nintendo GameCube, it was the sequel title to Paper Mario 64. And it was the sequel we did not know that we needed, but we were gifted it and it remains a staple in the Paper Mario series. So much so that Nintendo heard their fanbase and released a remake last year in 2024. And honestly, I would make the argument that Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is kind of what solidified this whole series as a whole, honestly. Back in October of 2004, I was 7 years old. I was mainly a spectator when it came to video games at that time. I did have my own Nintendo DS, but if I were to play on a console such as the GameCube, I was only really allowed to play when my older brother let me. Like, I would play with him on Mario Kart Double Dash or something like that. The console was his, so I didn't really get to play console games until I got older and got a GameCube of my own. But I always enjoyed watching my brother play video games, so because I was constantly always watching him play, I know so many games, their soundtracks, their stories, inside and out, because I was so invested in these storylines. Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door was so great because it was the same turn-based style as its predecessor, but its art style was improved with better detail and also was its own thing, clearly still carrying the paper style from before, but this game had its own charm for sure. Like it's a whole different vibe from the first game. Many people, including myself, love Paper Mario 64, but Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door was just, again, what I said earlier, just what really solidified the Paper franchise, in my opinion. There was just a lot more personality in The Thousand Year Door. It was a bit rugged, the story felt deeper, with more complex characters, with stories of their own. It definitely made the story feel not as cookie-cut as 64, and it also felt a little darker with a plotline that seemed to be a lot more serious and much like it had scarier consequences, as the main villain you had to defeat was a 1,000-year-old demon who also possesses Princess Peach as a last resort to destroy you and essentially take over the world and destroy literally anyone who dared to defy her, the Shadow Queen. And I don't know about you guys, but a demon is definitely a lot more intimidating than Bowser. No offense to him. I love Bowser, you guys. I really do. But I love that they created a different villain for this game. And thank goodness you do defeat her. Though I will say that the battle with her at the end could be a little bit challenging sometimes. I remember watching my older brother having to battle her more than once because if you don't have a strategy, it's really easy for things to get out of hand since you essentially battle her in different waves and have to defeat her multiple times to really win the battle and save the world. Once I played Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, I had to fight her a couple times to figure out the right strategy, and I do love that it wasn't an easy win. And you have to be smart about also what items you have and like what badges you're going to equip to help you in this fight. Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door follows the same pattern of being joined by partners who join your party as you go on your journey to discover and unravel the mystery of this map that Princess Peach left for you in the beginning of the game. You arrive to Rogueport after she sends you a letter and find out that she has gone missing by Toadsworth. And so, of course, Mario jumps into action to find her and save her, but as you progress through the game, you soon discovered that this is much more darker than the average kidnapping of Princess Peach, and that Bowser is actually not the culprit of this. And let's be real, again, I love Bowser, but we all know that he is not smart enough to concoct the plan that Sir Grotus plans with Lord Crump and the rest of the X-Nauts. Sir Grotus is just a whole different type of villain, so much so that the demon has to put him in his place and remind him that she is not serving him, he is serving her, and then she just zzz him out of existence, and in retrospect, that is actually terrifying, but low-key it was also kind of funny to see happen. So, throughout the story, Mario goes to different places on the map to collect the crystal stars, and the stars unlock the 1,000-year door. And at the end of every chapter, you bring said crystal star retrieved back to the door, and the door then reveals where to find the next star on the map. My favorite chapter of the game is Chapter 4, where you retrieve the red crystal star located in Twilight Town. Although I've always been a super pink, cutesy type personality, I've always just loved creepy and spooky things as well, and Twilight Town is just kind of messed up. It's a messed up, creepy, spooky adventure. And arriving there is not easy, as you cannot go through the pipe like all the other locations you travel to. No. So you have to go to Professor Frankly, where he gives you the rundown of what you need to do. He tells you to find Darkly, the only Twilight Town immigrant who resides in the east side of Rogueport. Darkly then tells you that the reason you cannot go through the pipe is because you need to have your own name written on your clothes. And maybe as kids, that might have seemed annoying because you have to go find Darkly just chilling in some dark alley and needing your name written on your overalls might seem kind of silly, considering in the Mario universe it is one of the main methods of transportation. But it's really neat because Darkly just provides essentially the theme of this chapter, which is your identity. And also, Darkly is just really cute too. We wouldn't be able to progress farther in the story if not for Darkly's help. So, everyone say thank you, Darkly. He says you're welcome, guys. He told me to tell you that he says you're welcome. Once you get to Twilight Town, you discover that the town is literally being terrified in like the most messed up way every time the bell tolls. Another citizen of Twilight Town is turned into a pig. That's right, a pig. And everyone is just living under constant fear of who's going to be next. And you know, like that kind of low-key makes me think of Chapter 5 in Paper Mario 64 with the boos getting eaten by Tubba Blubba, but it's just like a whole nother level. So you begin talking to the townsfolk and you watch them be turned into pigs. And thank goodness for comic relief though, and I think one of the most charming things about the Paper Mario franchise to begin with is the dialogue. It's always so charming and funny and unserious at times, and it helps digest some of the heavier topics that are happening. The shopkeeper's wife, who is distraught, tells you about how she and her husband got into a fight earlier, and he returned home as a pig. And it's just funny because she tells you she called him a pig during their fight, and now he actually is one. Like, yikes. I shouldn't be laughing, but when she said that, my reaction was like that one Shrek meme. Like, it's like, ooh, like, you gotta be careful with what you say to people. Or the children who are starving and are begging their mom for food, and the bell tolls as you are speaking with her, and you know, like, you give her an item that's edible, and she's like thanking you so much, and then she turns into a pig, and her children are terrified, and then you're talking to them one by one, but then you talk to the last child, and for some reason, they question eating their mother. And it's just absurd dialogue like that just makes you laugh throughout the game, and I love it so much. The situation is dire, but the dialogue just makes it so unserious. You journey out of town heading towards Creepy Steeple. Essentially, it's like a big, scary, abandoned church type thing. and it's the source of the bell tolling. Some citizens of Twilight Town, like the mayor, think you're crazy for even going out there, but they don't really explain why. You just get to the Creepy Steeple. And disclaimer, I know one of the annoying things about this chapter back in the day was all the back and forth you have to do in this chapter specifically. And I do think that they made this process more bearable in the remake. It didn't feel as tasky or as daunting as it seemed whenever I was smaller and watching my brother play through the story. So I would love to know your thoughts on this in the comments. Anyways, we discover one of my most favorite characters in this game, Doopliss. Sorry. At the top of Creepy Steeple, he's chilling out there in his little rocky chair, and he essentially admits that he is the one behind turning the townsfolk into pigs, and your little baby Yoshi questions why, to which Doopliss responds that he is simply just doing this for his entertainment. He says that the citizens are just so wallowed in depression and that they might as well just wallow in the mud instead, and he starts laughing because he thinks it's funny. And Mario and his party do not find this funny at all, and Doopliss is very offended that we don't understand his humor, so he invites us to play with him in battle. During this first battle, Doopliss performs more magic and becomes a shadow of Mario, and you defeat him in battle, and you receive the red crystal star, and it seems like the chapter is over, but it all seems too easy, right? And after the battle is over, you realize that Doopliss' magic trick went way farther than that. He essentially steals your identity and body, and you are actually the shadow of Mario, and Doopliss has fooled your team into thinking he is actually you, and he rides off with your crew. You follow him back into town, and just outside of the town, he pops out and he just boasts about how you're a shadow now and that he aims to erase you for good and plans to just steal your identity and body permanently. And he decides to give you one last chance to get your body back. You just have to spell his name. At this point in the game, we do not know that his name is Doopliss, or at least the very first playthrough without prior knowledge, as it is not revealed until later in the chapter. As you try to guess his name, you notice that the lowercase p is missing from the keyboard menu that pops up, and you have to battle him. And it's pretty pointless to battle him because you can't really defeat him. So Doopliss remains at that spot waiting to jump out at you to see if you can guess his name. So through the back and forth you have to do in this chapter, I just run away or avoid battling him. I just avoid battling him altogether. It's not worth fighting him again until you have retrieved the lowercase p. As you get back into town as a shadow of yourself, no one knows who you are, and you can't even really tell them what happened to you either. So you find Vivian, who, by the way, is my favorite party member that you get in this game. Also, trans rights are human rights. So anyways, you find Vivian stressing out because she's feeling bad because Beldam and Miriam are not kind sisters and blame Vivian for essentially everything that has gone wrong. So this time, Beldam has lost this grenade thingy and blames Vivian, so Vivian is crying while trying to find it. Mario notices her and helps her find it, but then it breaks and she's worried again as she knows that Beldam will blame her for this too, even though Beldam was the one who dropped it and most likely caused it to break and become faulty. So Mario comforts Vivian, and she is moved by his kindness, saying that she can't believe that she's crying about all this while you, playing as Mario, essentially had your identity and body stolen and can't even say anything. She's really like, I got some first world problems and you got real problems, and she decides to help you on your journey to getting your name, body, and friends back. Since you are a shadow person and have Vivian in your party, you can actually hear conversations you couldn't hear before due to Vivian's veil ability, and you can eavesdrop on the crows in Twilight Town. And these crows are hilarious, having conversation about their new fiber internet or talking about their kids' school progress. But through eavesdropping, you find out that Doopliss has an underground hidden room locked in Creepy Steeple where a parrot who knows his name is guarding the missing lowercase p in a box. So thanks to Vivian's abilities, you are able to retrieve this letter by tricking the parrot into thinking you're gone when you really aren't. The parrot is confused by your sudden disappearance and frustrated with Doopliss keeping him locked in a basement and is lonely and just yaps. Like, he just literally yaps everything you need to know. So once you get everything you need, you emerge back to the surface and the parrot realizes he's been duped. And you go back to Doopliss because now you know his name and you retrieved the missing letter. And this throws Doopliss in for a loop. And he crashes out and runs back to the top of Creepy Steeple. So you head back and you begin to battle Doopliss again with Vivian by your side, but then she realizes she's been helping the Mario, and she is in so much disbelief for helping her enemy and leaves you hanging dry to battle Doopliss on your own. To which Doopliss makes the comment, "What? A fight with your girlfriend?" and seems smug because now the only person who is helping you bounced out, and he is sure that his plan can still work. Throughout battling Doopliss alone, you start to hear dialogue happening between Vivian and her sisters, although nowhere to be seen. I'm just assuming because you're still a shadow person and all the normal rules of the world don't apply to you at this moment, you can hear the stuff in the shadow realm. She finally has the courage to leave her sisters and comes back to you, which is a really heartwarming moment because Vivian essentially kisses the abuse she's endured goodbye and consciously makes the choice to do what is right and not what she's told. Vivian helps you kick Doopliss' butt and you get your identity and your body back, plus the real red crystal star, and ending the chapter for real this time. The rest of Mario's party members feel so bad and silly for falling for Doopliss' tricks, and honestly, like, they should feel so silly because the way that Doopliss was portraying Mario was, like, clearly so out of character, and they just acted like it was normal. And they accept Vivian joining the party, although they do question it at first. The citizens of Twilight Town are no longer pigs as the spell Doopliss put on them is broken, and he pouts and runs away in his defeat for good, calling Mario and his friends killjoys, or so we think. At least in terms of Chapter 4, he is gone and defeated, but Doopliss then takes Vivian's place in the Shadow Sirens, and he becomes Beldam's new target for bullying and abuse. Now, I absolutely love Doopliss. He is just such a kid, like, essentially playing very messed up pranks, but he's just, like, you know, he's a silly little ghosty guy in a party hat, and he could, like, I don't know, I could totally see him being friends with Hanamaru Obake from Sanrio. Like, he's, like, her version of Barry and Cherry, like, from Cinnamoroll's universe, and playing pranks and causing mischief on those around him, and he just, like, wants people to play with him. That's all he really wants. I love his design and his personality. He's simple and twisted at the same time, and his unique character is one of the main reasons I love this chapter. And besides the whole spooky vibes that this chapter has that I touched on earlier, what I love the most about this specific chapter is the soundtrack. Very unique sounds going on that fit the vibe, and they execute that so well. And I also feel like Doopliss' battle theme is not talked about enough. Like, I feel like it's underrated. I literally can listen to it on repeat for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Like, on the Nintendo Music app, they just put that soundtrack on there, and, like, wow, I loved it because I could just listen to it on repeat on my phone, and it was great. It was fantastic. I just always loved jamming out to it so much, and it's so cool, very complex, and a bop. They delivered with it, and it's just been one of the best tracks that have stood out for me in the game. and has like stayed with me as I've grown into my adulthood. And of course the whole soundtrack is great, but this battle theme is just, it's so unique. And I just, like I said, I just, for the past 20 years of my life, I just casually listen to it a lot, and I can always appreciate when game soundtracks impact me that much. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It's been a long time coming, and as my son gets older, it's beginning a little bit easier for me to work on fun projects like this, where I just yap about stuff that I like. And I plan on putting more content on my channel. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. Drop a comment letting me know your thoughts on chapter 4, or let me know your favorite chapter of what Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door is. And remember, friends, you are so loved, and thank you so much for your support.